Well, good morning, Jolly Ranchers. Today I'm gonna tell you the remarkable story of the times when we were in Africa and we would reach out the window and touch people. Sounds creepy? It was. Well, first of all, I'd like to tell you about a little interaction I had this morning when I was driving along and I came up to an intersection. And there was a person who was on my right, and we sort of came at the same time, but I was there slightly earlier. And you know, typically in a situation like that, one person is more polite and they wave the other person on. However, in this case, the person had heavily tinted windows. And I could tell, I could feel, it may sound kind of weird, but I could feel that they were trying to communicate to me. But I couldn't see them because of their heavily tinted windows. And so I wonder if you have heavily tinted windows on your vehicle, do you think that the rest of the people out on the road are just really rude people because they're always ignoring you? That's not the case. They want to interact. They want to wave you ahead or see if you're waving them ahead and reciprocate and communicate. You know, it's about anticipation and communication. That's what driving is all about. But you can't do that when you can't see the other person. So if you have heavily tinted windows, don't think that everybody else out on the road is just a complete rude jerk to you. We want to talk with you, we just can't see you. So it's you, not us. All right, where was I? Oh, there we were in Freetown, Sierra Leone, one of the worst traffic cities I've ever experienced in my life. More than some of the Asian countries that I've been to. And there's a lot of people in some of these Asian countries. A lot of people. But in Freetown, it's difficult because the city was designed originally for a much smaller population, and it also was not designed for vehicles. And so you got really used to driving on a road designed for one car. Well, not really designed, but let's say it only fit one car. And then someone would be coming towards you, and you would time with them when you would swerve out of the way. Like there was a small gap on the side of the road, and you would just kind of swerve at the same time, and missing each other by near inches. But that's just how you drove. You got really, really used to it. As opposed to here, when I'm driving along, the residential part of my neighborhood, there are people, parked on either side of the road, and there's plenty of room for two people to still squeeze by just fine, but people insist on taking up the entire lane. Like, no, this is only one-way traffic. You need to stop way up ahead. Drives me batty. Oh, by the way, joke time. What did one effeminate man say to the other? Hi, sunshine! Oh, wow, I love this. I love to mess with, okay, so anyway, where was I? Sunshine, ranting about drivers. Oh, yeah! So there's so many people in Sierra Leone, or at least Freetown, that when you're driving along, you almost feel like you're a rock and there are waves washing up around you and sort of swirling around you, and you, the rock, are not moving anywhere. You're just kind of this pillar. And so that would be a fantastic metaphor for how you get around Freetown. Is that the foot traffic, they are the surf, they're the ocean, and they just kind of float around you. And you don't really go anywhere, but they do, which is very frustrating. And you may be like, well, why don't you just get out and walk? And the vast majority of the time we did. But sometimes you'd have, camera equipment, other large pieces of equipment that you can't really tote around. The African people could probably tote around just fine, but sorry if I'm a little distracted. Some guy just hopped out of his car and acted like he was gonna shoot someone. Welcome to Auburn, Washington. Yeah, maybe he was mad about the guy ahead of him who had tinted windows and he was trying to wave at him. Oh, application. Love when that happens. All right, so what do you do when you're stuck in a vehicle and there's all these people walking around you and they're carrying large amounts of things, not with their hands, no, with the tops of their heads, which is very, very remarkable. It's a thing to see when you're in Africa, the land of balance, because they can balance anything on their heads. Big, big bowls of coconuts balanced on top of each other, a freshly sliced pineapple, chicken. I saw a tire once. I also saw an engine once. Engines are very heavy things, by the way, but these people have incredible neck muscles and they can balance. And when they're walking along, it's a very interesting thing to behold, because their heads and their bodies sort of move as two different entities. So if you can picture your body moving naturally as if you're walking, but their head has to stay completely level so that whatever they're bouncing on top of their head will not fall. So sort of picture this. Someone's walking along, but their head is sort of doing this trans-station sliding thing. And they're just natural and stuff like that. And if they want to look from left to right, they have to kind of hold it, and then they look, and then they look ahead, and then they just go. Remarkable. And then when you're out in the bush, the jungle, you see some people, and they're not carrying, well, they are carrying engines on top of their head, but they're also carrying, get this, logs. As in, like, you go out and you do some lumberjack work with your machete, and you're like, hey, I have to walk 5 miles back to my house. Just a ridiculously long way. I'm not gonna carry this thing in my arms. No, don't be ridiculous. I'm gonna put it on top of my head. Yeah, why not? But it's too heavy. I can't put it on top of my head. So you solicit help from your friends, and they help you heave this big bundle of branches or logs on top of your head. And it's hard work. It takes like two or three people to get this thing on top of your head. And then it was like, whoa, that was heavy. Okay, really heavy. That almost hurt my back lifting this. But it's a good thing it's on my head, because now I can walk home with it. How did they do that? Wow. Well, back to navigating around Freetown. What do? You reach out and you touch someone on their shoulder. And this, I'm pretty sure it originated with Lewis when he was in his van and he was driving along, and he was probably sort of frustrated to see all these people walking by him. And he just, nonchalantly reached out and tapped someone on the shoulder. They kept walking, but at the same time, they sort of looked over their shoulder like, I'm not walking with anybody. Did someone just touch me on the shoulder? And it was a very purposeful tap, like a tap, like I'm trying to get your attention here. and so this became a game, just to see if you could tap someone on the shoulder and see if you could get away with it. Well, it was especially wonderful when you were driving faster than the people, because then they had no doubt in their mind that this was like a ghost that just touched them on the shoulder. And I could just picture to this day a situation where a man was walking home from the market with a chicken under his arm, and he feels a tap on his shoulder, and he's walking alone. He looks behind him, he doesn't see anybody. He looks ahead of him, and all he sees is a van disappearing into the distance with a white guy's face looking at him in the rearview mirror with wide open eyes, just... Can you just picture this guy getting home and saying, hey honey, I was walking along And I'm pretty sure this white guy touched me on the shoulder, and he kept driving. And the wife is probably like, what are you talking about? There aren't any white people all out in the middle of Sierra Leone. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure this happened to me. And that is what we fondly refer to as the creeper tap.